Okay, class. So this will be the second part of section 1.4 that we started the other day. I believe we finished off right here doing these problems. Okay, so we are going to do this problem. This would be pretty straightforward stuff. We're going to use our calculator, so you need to grab your calculator. We're going to find relative maxes and relative mins. Also, and I don't believe this says it in your notes, we're going to find out where it's increasing and decreasing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in y1, you're going to enter in negative x cubed plus x. I have a calculator app on here that I should be able to get to. All right, hopefully you can see that. So we're going to go into y equals, we're going to enter negative x raised to the third, and then plus x. Oh, I missed my plus sign. Plus, come on, plus. Too many pluses. This is just great. Come on, go back, go space. All right, plus x. Okay, I'm going to do zoom 6. I'm going to graph it. Okay, so that's what the graph looks like, and I want to find relative maxes and mins. Now, here's the thing. I like to zoom in on graphs to see the relative max and min, so I'm going to do zoom box. So you do zoom box, which is number 1, hit enter, and I should be able to move the cursor to where I want to move it to. Move it up. I guess I got to keep tapping it. I go over just a little bit more. All right, hit enter, and I'm going to go down. Go down. There it goes. Down, 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 down. Well, this is tedious. Okay, and then I'm going to go over. Well, if I had to redo this, I probably wouldn't have zoomed box, but I'm going to do it since I'm this far in already. Okay, because that's where I care about. That's where the relative maxes and mins are. All right, so it zooms into that part, and now you're going to go second, trace, and we're going to go, we'll do the minimum first. Move your cursor to the left of the minimum. And down the bottom, you can see it says left bound, hit enter, go to the right. And you should remember doing this, algebra 1 and algebra 2. Go right bound, hit enter, enter, and we're going to write that ordered pair down. Now, when I go to, let me see if I can write this how I have it written now. All right, so this is going to be difficult. My handwriting might be a little bit messy. So rel min at negative 0.577. So we'll do to the thousandths place, comma, negative 0.385 rounded to the thousandths place. I know it doesn't say that in the directions, but that's what it's going to be. Now, just to save a little bit of time, if you're going to do the rel max, okay, you're going to go over to this point, over to the right. You're going to do second, trace, go down to max, and the rel max ends up happening at the positive versions of those. So 0.577, comma, 0.385. Okay? All right, now I'm going to do increasing and decreasing. Now, hopefully you can kind of quickly see what's going to happen here working from left to right. So let's do, let me change colors here. Decreasing. Bring the calculator up. And working from left to right, it's decreasing from negative infinity to the x coordinate of the relative min. So to this coordinate right here, which is negative 0.577. Then it starts to increase, then it starts to decrease again. Well, where that happens is at the x coordinate of the relative max, 0.577. And then it goes to positive infinity. Okay? I'm going to erase a little bit so I can kind of fit this in up here. Get rid of these. This eraser's not great. I spend more time erasing than doing the problem. Okay. And then let's do increasing. And the increasing is obviously the stuff in between. So it goes from the x coordinate of the min, negative 0.577, to the x coordinate of the max, which is 0.577. Okay? So that's just some basic calculator work there. All right. All right, I'm done with this calculator. All right. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to graph piecewise functions. So a piecewise function defined is basically defined using the absolute value, y equals the absolute value of x graph. And really what this is, and this is kind of important, that really says y is equal to x, and then the opposite of y is equal to x. And then when we simplify this, obviously you get y equals to negative x. But we're not graphing that entire graph y equals x and y equals negative x. We're only graphing, if you were going to graph, we know what the absolute value of x graph looks like. It looks like this, right? So here is the y equals x part, and here's the y equals negative x part. All right, and so when you go to write this as a piecewise function, you're going to say f of x is equal to, you make your little brackets. You have two parts of the graph. You have the y equals x part, and you have the y equals negative x part. But you only state the part that's being graphed. So y equals x is being graphed for everything greater than or equal to 0. And then y equals negative x is equal to less than 0. And that's typically how it's written as far as where the inequalities go. Okay. All right. Now, to evaluate this, there was a couple of homework problems earlier that I never went over, expected you to know how to do. Well, here's where you actually learn how to do it. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It says evaluate it when x equals negative 1. All you have to worry about is in this piecewise function, where is negative 1 defined, and it's defined for the second function. So all you're really doing is figure out where to plug it in. That one gets plugged in there, 0 gets plugged in to that one. Okay, and I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this calculator part here. I'll show you later how to graph piecewise functions. It's nice to see how to do it, but rarely do you ever use it. Okay, so let's graph some piecewise functions here. And again, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 examples. I'm probably not going to do all 4 of them. All right, I'll do the basic one just to kind of get the idea. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to graph each one of these functions, but just over the domain where they tell you to. So the first one, the 2x plus 3, you're going to graph it for everything less than or equal to 1. So you go to your y-intercept, which is 3. The slope's up 2 over 1, which would take me to there. And right, that's at the x coordinate of 1. So I don't want anything further to the right. I want all the stuff less than it, so to the left of it. So now I'm going to go down 2 over 1. And when you do these, fill up your entire graph. Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Okay, and that's that graph. I'm trying to draw this as straight as possible. And clearly make sure that that's a filled in circle, right? Because it's less than or equal to. And now we'll graph the other part, which is negative x plus 4. So you go up to positive 4, and we're going to go down 1 and over 1. And this is where I'm going to start right there with an open circle, because I'm graphing this stuff that's greater than or equal to 1. So now I just keep going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And just make sure that that's clearly an open circle and the other one's clearly closed. Okay? Some people like to go through and graph the whole lines for both of them and just erase the parts that they don't need. All right. Next one. Okay, so the first one's really easy. I use that as just a starter so everybody gets the hang of it, and we'll get to some more complicated ones. Okay. So for number 2, so let's see. We're going to graph the square root of x minus 1 for greater than or equal to 1. So first thing, it's the square root graph shifted to the right 1. So we're right here at 1, and that's where we're actually starting. Okay, so I'm good to put a closed circle there. And now you just go over 1, up 1, and then over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. All right, so over 4, up 2 from this starting point, and here's that part of the graph. All right, so we got that. Now we'll do the 4 minus x squared. So that's a parabola. So we're going to go up to positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want this stuff in between -1 and 1, so I can put that point there. And now, because it's negative, I go over to the right one and down 1, and it's going to be an open circle there, right? Because it's just less than. And then I go to the other way, left 1, down 1. Darn it. I think there's an undo somewhere here. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to go left 1, down 1, and it's also an open circle. And I'm going to sketch that little parabola that's in there. Okay? All right. Now we're on to the next one, which is absolute value of x plus 1. All right, so I'm going to shift it up 1 unit. And now I want everything less than or equal to -1. So I don't worry about going to the right. I'm going to go left 1 and up 1. And I'm going to put a closed circle right there. And then you can just keep going over 1, up 1 if you want. But again, from your starting point, if you want to put your starting point there, you're going to have to erase it in a little bit. But over 1, up 1, over 2, up 2. And it kind of keeps just going over 3, up 3, over 4. And it makes this line here. Now I'm going to get rid of that piece. And I'm going to draw in the rest of it. Okay? And that's what the graph should look like. And you have to make sure it's a function, it's f of x. So, if this point here is closed, the point that's above it better be open. Same thing here. If this point here is closed, that point should be open. All right, let's do number 4. And they get a little bit harder here. All right, so for number 4, I'm just going to check the time on how we're doing here with time on this. All right, we're doing good. Okay, so for number 4, I'm graphing this one for everything less than -3. All right, so let's see. It's an x cubed graph. So I'm going to go to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do down to 1, 2. So I'm okay to put that point on the graph because it is, in fact, less than -3. And now the x cubed graph goes over 1 and up 1. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I want to make sure that's my starting point. I go over 1 and up 1. I'm going to put open circle, right? Yeah, it's open circle there. Now, the next move you would make is to the right 2 and up 8, but I'm not going to do that because it's going to take me to greater than -3. So then I'm going to go over to the left 1 and down 1. And then you'd go over to the left 2, down 8. We'll take it down here. And I'm going to sketch that part of the graph. Should look something like this. Yeah, it's really hard on this Chromebook, but okay. That's that part. All right. Now let's do the next part. All right, so absolute value graph in between -3 and +1. So first thing I'm going to do is go up +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. There's no other shifts left or right, so I'm going to put a point there. And now for absolute value, you go over 1, up 1. But now we're going to go over 1, up 2, but the negative is going to reflect it. So I'm actually going to go left 1, down 2, and then left 2, 1, 1, 2, and then down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next one is over 3, down 6. So 1, 2, 3, down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it lands right on that point, so it closes that up. And then, again, remember, this is your starting point. That's why I make it a little bit bigger. I go over 2, down 2. And that's the last point I'm going to graph because I need to stop at +1. All right, there's that graph. You get the idea. It's so funny. The calibration's just a little bit off. Okay, and now this last one. I'm going to rewrite this. So I'm going to write it as the square root of, actually, let me pick a different color. Do blue. Erase what I just did. All right. The square root of, factor out the 1/2. It's going to leave me with an x minus 1. And then on the outside, a +3. All right, so the square root of graph. So I'm going to shift it to the right 1 unit and up 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's going to be my starting point. Now it says greater than, but there's already a filled in circle, so I'm just going to fill that circle in. Now, I normally go over 1, up 1. I'm going over the half. That's a horizontal stretch by a factor of 2. So I'm going to go over 2, 1, 2, and then up 1. I then go over 4, up 2. I'm going to go over 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes off the graph, and then I go up 2. And you sketch it. Okay? And there's that piecewise function. It kind of connects nicely. All right. I think I got 2 more. All right, let's just do one of these. We'll do number 2. So I give you the piecewise function. You got to write the equation. All right, so let's do, I'm going to start way over here. F of x is equal to, all right, we're going to have 3 equations here. And I just go left to right. So for this, I'll trace it in blue. Before I write the equation, I'm graphing everything that's less than -2. So I'll do that part first. All right, this is going to be a line. So you need the slope and the y-intercept. So let's figure out what the slope is here. It hits right there, and then it hits again there. So it looks like it goes up 1 over 2. So the slope is going to be a half, then x. Now I got to figure out where the y-intercept is. So I got to go up 1 over 2. So from here, I'm going up 1 and over 2. So it's going to take me to -2. Okay, let me erase some of that. Okay, next, I'll do this part here, this purple part. And it's going to be part of a parabola. And I'm graphing that. Now, this is where you can write the inequality first. So it's going to be from -2 less than or equal to x less than +1, right? Because I'm graphing it in between -2 and 1. All right, it's off by a little bit, but it should be shifted up 5 units. So it should be shifted up 5 units. It's an x squared graph. And let's see if there's anything vertical or horizontal. I go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 2, 1, 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4. It's off by a little bit, but okay. So there's no vertical or horizontal shifting, but it's reflected. So I'm going to put a negative there. And then last but not least, I haven't done right yet. Okay, this graph here. So this part here. All right, so let's see. I'm graphing it for everything greater than or equal to 1. So x greater than or equal to +1. Okay, so it's a line. So this one should be pretty simple. Let's figure out the slope first. I'll just pick this point here. It looks like I go up 1, 2, over 1. Okay. So it looks like it's a negative, right? So I'm going left to right. So that's going to be a -2x. And then I just got to figure out the y-intercept. So right from this point, I'll go up 2 over 1. It takes me up to 3. So +3. And then there's the graph, or there's the piecewise function of what's graphed. Okay. All right. There you have it. Yeah, just watch that video and take the notes. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do after that. Okay.